Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app, use promo code CHGO when you sign up. What's going on, Bears fans? It is a Tuesday full of news-ish stuff, notable stuff. We got Aaron Rodgers developments. We got Orlando Brown, which I know you guys talked about a lot last night on After Dark. We got our guy C-Dot, Carrington Harrison, coming on again, which you might remember we had him on after the Super Bowl, and he just wanted to fight Carman the entire time.
Carrington's one of my good friends in the industry. Carrington is a great radio host. Carrington is a very good guest. Carrington will give us all the Orlando Brown that we can possibly handle. And Carrington also just shows me very little respect, and I don't like Carrington.
Wow.
Okay. And we'll have him on later in the show.
Maybe. I don't know about that.
It's kind of similar to every relationship that I have with literally everyone in my life, because it's unfortunate, honestly, that you could not have been here for the pre-show meeting today, because it has been one of the more spirited, 90 minutes that we've spent together, and Hoge basically yelling at me for 90 minutes about everything I brought up. But,
well, I mean, you...
Right, Nick?
You poked the Wisconsin Badger bear.
It's a Badger.
Yeah, Hoge apparently thinks the Wisconsin basketball team is the KU basketball team, so I poked at that bear. Continue
what I
on.
said.
We should be a Sweet 16 team every single year.
We used to be.
Just like the Jayhawks. And I don't even like Kansas, although it is Allen Fieldhouse is sweet.
Fun fact, Wisconsin beat Kansas this year, but the referee missed the call out of bounds, and so they actually lost.
Fun fact, Northwestern's the 2 seed in the tournament. By the way, we're all wearing our Big Ten gear here. Go Hawkeyes, Nick. I'm rooting for you second because I went there.
Woo. Whose Big Ten gear are you wearing?
I'm wearing your – actually, so this is Hoge's. This is Hoge's Northwestern when he was doing sidelines for WGN coat.
That's why Carman looks like he just came from –
And these are Hoge's pants.
I don't know if you came from the gym or
a nice walk
or the –
I'm wearing a Hoge –
You either came from the gym or the OTB. I'm not sure which one.
Has anybody in CHGO history had more respect to one of their co-hosts to wear their hand-me-downs? Seriously. Lawrence, 1 year and 3 days in. Has anybody done this?
What now? What?
I don't know.
Where somebody's
wearing my
hand-me-down.
clothes is
These are your clothes.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think that's a
You're
level
the
of camaraderie on a show that no other show has.
They fit
Very
you
true.
that well.
You do look like you're
A loser?
a staffer at a football game in November with like the wind and the rain.
Do you have a
coming
clipboard or
down.
something? If we had a clipboard or a notepad, it'd be perfect.
Hey, it's all because the the Bears are going to draft Adetomo Adebawore, and it's going to save the defense after they sign Orlando Brown and or Jawaan Taylor. So many options. I'm so excited about what's going on right now.
We're getting there. We're inching closer. Welcome into the show. Appreciate everybody being here. Adam Hoge, Crazy Mark Carman, Hawkeye Nick over there, Nicholas Moreano,
Hawkeye
Lawrence
Nick.
producing. We are... where should we start? These mock drafts that are out today? Some interesting mock drafts. Multiple trade downs. We got Dane Brugler, who also joined Hogan Johns today, if you want to check that out later. He's got the Bears trading back to 4 with the Indianapolis Colts, and then trading back again to number 9, taking Hawkeye Lucas Van Ness, who actually I really like that pick at number 9. But the bigger thing is they ended up with 4 second-round picks out of all of it, plus at least 1 first-rounder next year, maybe 2 extra ones. I think it was just then you have 2 first-round picks next year, which really loads Ryan Poles up with all the draft picks, which he made pretty clear to Peter King. You just give him all the draft capital.
And I think the more, now being a couple days removed from the NFL scouting combine, it seems like that's what Ryan Poles wants to do, right? Just accumulate these picks, and if you could still get one of those 6 to 8 blue-chip players, this seems like what he wants to go do. So we saw Dane Brugler, like Adam was just talking about. Tom McShay also had a double trade-down scenario in the first round where he had the Bears trading back to 4 with the Colts. Then they trade back to 7 with the Raiders. And at that pick, they take Peter Skoronski. So 2 Big Ten players, both being mocked to the Bears here in these double trade-down scenarios. But that just seems like the likely, right now, at this very moment, the likely scenario that Ryan Poles might take to accumulate more picks and still get one of those blue chip players.
So I want to get everybody on the same team here because I'm seeing it all through the chat and I'm hearing it all through Bears land and I'm hearing it come out of my mouth and both of your mouths. Trade down, trade down, trade down. Hoge, who used to be Mr. Let's stay in the top 4 and get a premier player. We need premier players. I heard your hit with Parkins and Spiegel yesterday, and me being a Saturday Night Live host, thank you very much to those guys. And you were like, yeah, no, I'm good trading down tonight, which I'm sure you've said on this show many times too. So you're just putting it out.
Well, and I want to make that clear because that's, then people start accusing you of flipping on your takes.
You're allowed to flip on your takes.
You're allowed to change.
Well, we got new information. I mean, the guy that I was very consistently in love with and still am from a tape perspective, Jalen Carter, we got very significant news last week that actually started even before the bombshell came out. As soon as I got down to Indy, and you guys heard this from me right away, like Tuesday morning, the stuff I had heard, like, okay, this is starting to get iffy. And then now you get the bombshell news. Like, that's why this is a process. So what you might think in January can change by draft day. And that's one of the things that's changed for me. Because I still like Will Anderson, but to not get the extra draft capital – I mean, the hope was that you could get back to 4 and still get one of the 2. And that's where I was like, I don't know if I want to go past that point because you're sort of having your cake and eating it too, right? Like, because you're getting you're getting your premier player and you're still getting some draft capital. Now that's not a guarantee. So I'm starting to be on board with the idea you go farther back. Now you're really loading up on future draft capital.
Right. And so where I'd like to take the conversation from there is because I think – correct me if I'm wrong, Rise and Shine chat. Where you at, Greg Braggs? It seems to me that everybody is on board with this, which means that you are on board with the Bears doing a slower rebuild, that you're not focused on making the playoffs next year, but more taking a step forward, and hopefully the Bears will be a viable playoff contender 2 years down the line and a championship contender, thereafter.
Can I push back on it in a less aggressive way than I did in our pre-show meeting?
Be as aggressive as you want.
If you get 4 second-round picks, I think that's speeding up the process. I think you're getting 4. A lot of second-round picks play early, and we've seen now. You still need a year to obviously kind of ease into your NFL career.
Look at Brisker and Gordon. Second-round picks.
But the one,
okay.
But here's what I'm getting.
We need offensive playmakers to step up. That's not normal for a second-round pick immediately. Keep going.
Sure, but right now the Bears have how many picks in the top 64? 2.
I got it. Yeah.
Well, Dane Brugler came up with a way where we have 5.
Yeah.
That's
right. Right. Less likely that they will. Less for sure.
That's not speeding up the process. With the same exact amount of cap space. Like, I think you're getting closer. I'm not saying you're getting closer to the playoffs because I'm not saying they're a playoff team. But I get what you're saying, that you might not get that one game record at the top. But
you get
I don't know. Like, I'm not in any way, shape, or form going to try to make an argument that Lucas Van Ness is better than Will Anderson. But you can make the argument that he fits more of the prototypical 4-3 defensive end spot.
Just from a size perspective, too, yeah.
Okay. You spun a different argument on this, which is a great job. That's why this is a great podcast. Thank you so much for listening and become a diehard.
Hit that like button,
hit the like button and subscribe. I'm talking about just the forget about what you just said for a second. Okay. I'm talking about, are Bears fans comfortable with next year being another build year? And by the way, whether you're comfortable or not, it very well might be. But I'm just curious, what's the narrative going to be if next season the Bears go from 3 wins to 6 wins? Are people going to be sitting there screaming at polls? Are people going to,
I think it depends on the context of the season.
If Justin Fields is looking good and they win 6 games, then I think Bears fans are going to be all right.
It's more so if you end up with 5 draft picks and they all look like busts after 1 year, then they're not going to be happy.
Yeah, in a vacuum, as you said yesterday, will you be happy with will you be a relaxed Bears fan?
Is it a Dyson, a Shark? What type of vacuum are we talking?
I went with Shark.
I got one of those.
Doing a great job.
I invested in one of those cordless ones.
Okay.
It's a game changer.
Or are we talking a Roomba?
No, not those Roombas.
You don't like the? I've always wanted a Roomba. No.
Yeah, they're very expensive.
They're loud,
but,
and
if you have a dog, I think it's just perfect.
You're trying to sleep, and the thing's just buzzing over your head.
Don't you tell the robot what to do over there?
I do think we should add a vacuum to the show since it's become
in a vacuum.
A thing the last
in a vacuum, Carm.
So apparently, according to the chat, everyone just already just sold it. Yeah, next year's not a playoff season, so we already know this, Carm. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's thinking playoffs next year.
Some people are thinking playoffs next year. Maybe it's a very few.
If they do exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars did,
I think a lot.
Which is why I think what you're trying to say actually had. I don't. What you're trying to get at, I think, depends more on free agency than the draft, is what I'm trying to respond to you. Because regardless if the Bears end up with drafting Willie Anderson number 1 overall or ending up with 6 picks in the top 2 rounds, which would be insane, just insanely awesome. To me, the timeline changes more based on how aggressive you are in free agency with players that are going to have an instant impact. Rookies are rookies.
I think, Carm, too, like a team taking Will Anderson, or let's take the Eagles, for example. They're going to take maybe Bijan Robinson, the running back, because that guy complements what the roster already has. If you're the Bears, you take let's say Will Anderson falls to him at 4 with a trade back scenario to the Colts. It's one guy. And yes, he might be great. He might be fantastic for your defense. But how many edge rushers change a franchise? And that's the thing. The Bears are not in that position right now. They have so many holes on this roster where just get as many picks as you can in the top 50 or whatever it is, and then you have at least more bites at the apple.
Yeah, look, I've been on board the whole time as far as let's build this the right way. Let's make sound decisions. Trade 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 1 to 4, 4 to 9, however he wants to do it. 1 to 9 and get. But a lot of that. Some of that is him and Ryan Poles saying this to Peter King. He wants a first-round pick in multiple. He wants to have 2 next year, 2 the year after that. So that in just logical fashion, that is going to delay things a little bit if Poles is going that route. If you put Jalen Carter back in this as without his issues, which we can't do anymore, but I'm just saying if you added that 3 tech there and he was dominant, that could fast forward your rebuild quicker and being aggressive more than anything else. Now, maybe that's just completely off the board right now. But I do think I just think it's interesting that Poles is clearly looking at this as a longer rebuild and doing this really bit by bit, brick by brick, doing it the right way. And Bears fans seem to be on board with it. That's after a 3-14 season. Maybe I'm just wanting to have this conversation to remind you when next year is not ideally. They're piling up the wins, that this is all part of the process. I feel like people are into it right now, but are not really soaking in what it very well could feel like in the moment. How's that?
Shout out to my guy Enrique who threw us a $2 super chat saying, playoffs. .gif. Super Bowl, Super Bears.
Super Bowl, Super Bears.
I mean, people
Hopefully
had the Bears winning 8-9 games this year. Didn't Will DeWitt predict 11 wins?
Yeah.
You don't have to bring that up, okay?
How many wins did you have him have this year?
I think I settled on 8.
8. There we go.
9. Yeah.
So
that wasn't crazy though. They traded the entire defense away.
And how many one-score games were they? And
Okay,
they
let's not try and justify these. These were terrible decisions, calling them 8 or 9 win teams.
Well,
I'm just telling. There's going to be if they have a good offseason, if they go and sign Orlando Brown or Jawaan Taylor, and they let's get some Zay Flowers in here. Let's maybe multiple receivers throw in a nice I don't know, sexy offensive lineman in the draft. Maybe they go Skoratsky number 9. I think you will be able to talk yourself into a 9-win season next year with their schedule.
Did you just say Skoratsky's sexy?
A little sexy.
I think that's what you said.
Well, you love his footwork, don't you?
Sexy.
Sexy Skoratsky.
Shout out to Maine South. We got another super chat here.
I got a couple here. I was saving them a little bit here because they're more free agency based, but we could do them now if you want. You want to do them?
Let's do the Rodgers one because that's actually our next
Rodgers!
topic. Yeah. Mark. $4.99. If Rodgers goes to the Jets, I'm getting as drunk as Will did when we got the number 1 pick.
Good vibrations.
You're going to have a fun time then, Marky Mark.
But think so?
What, if he gets as drunk as Will did?
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were saying it like he's going to the Jets.
I mean, it's kind of leaning toward. But if he does, if Rodgers does leave the NFC North, and goes to the AFC, I mean, the path in the NFC does become easier. And Derek Carr's coming over. I don't know how much he moves the needle, honestly, with the Saints, but the NFC becomes easier without Rodgers, regardless of how much you think he has left in the tank. So if he does move, I think that path that we were talking about, the last Super Chat about the Super Bears, not that they're going to get to that level, but it does make it a little easier when you don't have to go through Green Bay and you don't know what Jordan Love is.
Oh, I know what Jordan Love is.
Well, maybe the Packers don't.
You do?
To find out.
Yeah, he's not good.
Wow.
What makes you so
no love
confident?
for the Utah State Aggies.
Because let me tell you this: if you love Jordan Love, after 1 year, he's been in your building for 1 year, and the Denver Broncos are calling you on draft night in a draft that's 5 quarterbacks worthy of going in the first 15 picks, and they're offering you 3 first-round picks, you'd be out of your mind not to make that trade. And the Packers did not make that trade. And then they let him hold him hostage for 2 straight years, and they paid him even more money as he was going into year 3. And then when their season was obviously done,
They didn't turn.
obviously done,
4-8.
they could have taken a look at him.
Yep.
And instead they let Rodgers take him all the way to the 4th quarter where they blew it at home against the Lions.
Ugh, that's a bad look.
They don't
Yes,
love Jordan Love. They're sick of Aaron Rodgers right now. And they realize that if they're going to take a look at Jordan Love, they need to do it now. The way that organization has handled the quarterback position the last 3 years has been embarrassing.
It's such a weird thing to say, too.
It
Green
is
Bay Packers.
embarrassing.
100%.
And I get that he won the MVP 2 of those years. But
I'm still not ready to completely write him off until we see him play. I wouldn't bet on him being successful, but they just got into a very weird Aaron Rodgers was popular and Green Bay fans loved their guy and they didn't want to go through that again, and they just did an absolutely awful job of not taking. They could have taken the pain and moved forward, and it would have been all right. Instead, they dragged it out, which feels very similar to many of my long-term relationships.
Aaron Rodgers in the New York media is going to be.
Oh, that's going to. I'm going to watch those press conferences.
Let me be that gif where just lean back, get the popcorn ready.
Yep. I completely agree.
I saw an amazing tweet this morning that said, this is from Kev Dinahan, and he wrote, "Imagine going on a 4-day total darkness vision quest, and at the end, in the nirvana of your deprived mind, you see the New York Jets."
That's amazing.
It's fantastic.
Well,
That's great.
the Jets, he could win there.
They have some people over there. They have some players. Garrett Wilson.
I'd probably feel better about being the Jets quarterback right now than the Packers quarterback.
There's no question right now. I mean,
I don't know if there's no question, but
Are the
Jets have a very.
they got some fun weapons. They got a good defense.
I mean,
I'm not sure they're a Super Bowl team, though, with Aaron Rodgers.
tell me he's not looking at Garrett Wilson being like, let's go. I mean,
probably is. Bringing
I'm
Randall
sure.
Cobb too, right?
Sure he is. I'm
are
sure Garrett Wilson was somewhere in his darkness vision.
Probably.
maybe
We were
who
just
we
kind of
woke up
talking
to.
about Jordan Love, you guys. Is it out of the question that the Packers would make a move on a quarterback? They're at 15. Like, I know nobody's talked about that, but if they're really not sold on Jordan Love, and you know you can't go anywhere without a quarterback, like I don't know, like it just kind of popped into my head as we're kind of discussing this and the controversy.
I mean, where do you think
Packers.
Anthony Richardson's going?
I think he's going in the top 7, probably top 6. I don't think he gets past the Raiders, and the Raiders might have to trade up to get him.
That is the most interesting name to me in the draft right now. Huge swing,
So much potential,
so much potential.
but not a lot of experience.
13 starts. But somebody might hit a home run with that.
Maybe.
If you could have any quarterback in the draft right now, who are you taking?
C.J. Stroud.
I still like
And it's
CJ
not even
Stroud.
close. He is like actually my clear number 1 right now. He solidified that last week. There were no concerns on him. Everybody, some things I heard off the field about how much teams love him just as a teammate and a person and a human
Look
being.
how he defended Fields.
And then he went out there and was awesome in his workout. I think he has the fewest or the lowest risk by far, highest floor. Yeah.
So when we're doing the show in 3 years, I'd like to cash in on this bet. I'll bet you that Anthony Richardson has a better career.
Okay.
Ooh.
How are we going to define that though?
By logic. We'll be. I don't think there's going to be any. If it's close, then I win. Because I'm taking.
Wait, what logic is that?
Because I'm taking more risk. I'm very. Once I started reading about his fireman history, born leader, that level of physical talent, running 4.3s, I would be extremely excited if I was an organization bringing that dude in, and ideally you let him sit for a year and have him figure it out.
Dane Brugler said his meetings with teams were very mixed.
Richardson?
That's interesting.
Not that he bombed them, but they were obviously not clearly impressive.
Carman, can I ask you
So
something
that means they're having him draw stuff up and he's not nailing it.
Maybe.
Probably some of that, and that's if you're gonna push back on that, which I can understand some teams, and this is why there's gonna be a sort of a risk assessment with that, and some teams are gonna still go with it. He's very young still. Mm-hmm. He's like barely played football even at 13 starts. That number sound familiar?
It's a huge swing. Huge swing.
Yep.
But you're sitting there, despite what you just said with Dane, you're still thinking he's going top 6.
I don't think he gets past the Raiders based on some things I heard last.
Right.
That seems like a good pick. Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson for you now?
That's such a tough call because, I mean, I don't know if you can. If I had the number 1 overall pick, am I going to say Anthony Richardson? No. Like, I don't think you can do that, and maybe I would even take CJ over Bryce, but I just if that's too high of a risk on what could be an incredibly low floor if he completely bombs out. So you got to have some level of prudency here. But like if you're asking me like who I'm most excited about of any of these quarterbacks, like I just find Anthony Richardson to be by far the most interesting.
A quick update that may have some relevance to the Bears, depending on how aggressive they want to get with a big-time player. According to Adam Schefter, this just 56 seconds ago, contract talks between the Giants and quarterback Daniel Jones are, in the words of one source, quote, going right down to the wire. Deadline for the Giants to tag him is at 3 o'clock Central Time. Today, the deal must be done by then, or the team plans to tag its quarterback. So if they don't have a deal by 3, they'll be using the franchise tag on Daniel Jones instead of Saquon Barkley, which is why that could be somewhat relevant to the Bears.
We definitely want that dude tagged.
Jones tagged.
We want him tagged.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Just let's have an option with Saquon. Not saying they're going to do it. I would bet that they won't, but I'd love to have it would be very intriguing if he was out there.
And $40 million is a lot for Daniel Jones. I'm sorry, he's not on the level of Jalen Hurts and those guys. He had one good season with Dable, which is encouraging, but I think that's
terrible
a smart
place
option
for the Giants. Terrible.
I think
want to sign
get odds on a lot of this stuff about who's going to make the number 1 pick, where's this player going to end up.
Where could you do that?
Check
Adam?
it out on DraftKings Sportsbook, the greatest sportsbook of all time. They got NBA no sweat same game parlays too, with Major League Baseball coming up. You can dive into that as well as maybe put in a Luis Robert MVP bet if you want, which I did last year and didn't work.
Yeah, I remember when Sean and Herb did that, and that was not exactly a good bet.
Yeah. It probably makes more sense to buy low this year than last year.
Yeah.
But
It's the White Sox.
what are you going to do? But here's what you're going to do. You're going to download the app now if you haven't already. You're going to sign up with code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
And where do you go to buy your tickets for the Big Ten tournament for
Mark Carman.
Yes?
That's where I go.
That's where you go. Yeah.
You've been out here like a ticket broker all week.
I have been negotiating. But if you don't have a direct line to me, then I would recommend Game Time Tickets, where over 15 million people have downloaded the Game Time Ticket app, and they're getting their seats for, right now I'm looking at Wolves, Blackhawks, Bulls, Ice Hawks, the Quad City Stream Wheelers. Hoge's a big fan. The Fire are back going. WWE Live Road to WrestleMania. Let's get it going. And, of course, Cubs and Red Stars and White Sox, WWE Raw at the Allstate Arena, April 24th. Let's go. Download the Game Time Ticket app. You want to sit in the front row, you want to sit in the last row, you want to sit in the middle row, you want to sit anywhere. The best price you're going to get is on Game Time Tickets. And, yes, you can wait to Game Time. You don't have to wait to Game Time. The best price you're going to get, Game Time Tickets. Download that app. And, by the way, if you really want to support us at CHGO, buy your tickets through the link in the description, and they know that, oh my God, this is a great place for us to be advertising, and we're all in this together, and we're all getting the best sporting event experience possible. CHGO Game Time Tickets. Let's go.
All right, before we move on, a couple super chats rolled through here. Zach Ferguson, $4.99, said, there's a small part of me that wants Rodgers to stay in Green Bay knowing Chicago will get better and own him for the remainder of his career, bear down. Okay. Sure. And then it's possible. It is a possibility.
Get back at Rodgers. I'd get him out.
If you haven't figured out already that Aaron Rodgers really likes beating the Bears.
Yeah. You're going to find out this year again.
Yeah, maybe his mind has been changed in his total darkness BS.
If he goes to the Jets, there's a good chance you don't see Aaron Rodgers the rest of his career. Because the Bears won't play him for another 3 years.
Just played him. Yep.
Which is not how I would have scripted ending it. The Bears killing Aaron Rodgers. Let's go.
Well, not right, but you really think that's going to happen?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
At some point.
Bears Jets Super Bowl
2023.
Kevin Koenig from the top.
Why not?
From the bleachers.
Why not?
Enrique said, quote, is Jordan Love bad, end quote? Adam Johns, soundbite.
That was actually my soundbite, Enrique.
Oh.
And then
don't give Johns credit for stuff he doesn't deserve credit for.
Wrong.
Before we get
cutting my head out of their photos on The Athletic.
I did see that.
Carrington Harrison is about to join us, but I want to hit this one before we move on. Yoshino Sun 9, $20 super chat. Thank you, Yosh. Fun memory from day 2 of the Combine. Keely Ringo's family happened to sit by me. Nice family. I don't see the Bears drafting him in time, but would he be a good fit to par with JJ on the outside? Any DB catch your attention last week?
Yes, can we shelve that conversation since we have a guest coming up? But yes, we can answer that.
Okay.
We got some DBs to talk about.
Get back to you.
We'll get back to that as we bring in our guy from 610 Sports Radio, afternoon host, my good buddy, who I've taught everything that he's ever learned really about NBA basketball. And, we do that, but we bring him on because he is generally an expert on everything else in life, including, of course, Orlando Brown, who the Chiefs are not tagging. Carrington Harrison, 610 Sports Radio, also on CBS Sports Radio, joining us here on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Can I see
At
Carrington?
some point, yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to do
we can
this.
talk to him, though.
It's very annoying. You can talk to him. I'll get this in a second here.
Well, C-Dot, let's just start with this then as we get your picture up on the screen. Were you surprised by the Chiefs' decision to not do the tag on Brown, making him potentially available if they can't work out a deal here? Can't hear him.
Hold on. Where is he at? What's going on here? He's muted.
Hang on that answer, C-Dot.
Why is he muted?
All right.
Let's see here.
We'll get this figured out. We're
I believe in Lawrence. Nobody does it better.
Yeah, I don't know what's
Looks
going
like
on with this thing today. Ecam just had a little switcheroo recently, and there we go. Let's get him in there.
There it is.
All right. Rocky
Technology.
4 is overrated.
Oh, there he is. There he is,
All right, so we're
looking
gonna bring
fresh,
that
looking
up.
ready.
Let's see. Now, can we hear you?
I see myself.
There we go.
Let's go.
There we go.
We
love
can
the
hear
energy.
you too. So, all right, answer that question. Were you surprised? No tag, Brown.
I was going to say, Carm, you taught me everything I know about life. It's not just radio in which you have educated me on. It's everything that I know about life. Second off, I am Carm's friend on Instagram. I actually thought that Carm was too old to be on Instagram. I forgot that he and I were friends on Instagram. And I saw a video where it was named the most famous person on your phone, yet nobody wanted to call any of the people. Like, you're afraid to call Ryan Sandberg? What is Ryan Sandberg doing on a Tuesday in March? What is he doing?
Did you just call Ryan Sandberg Ryan Sandberg? Because that
you
is
know who I was. I don't know that man. You knew who I was talking about.
Look at the generational gap. Ryan Sandberg, rise and shine. Hey, listen.
You could have called Barkley.
I could have called Chuck. You want me to?
Yeah, I
listen.
don't understand why you guys didn't want to call any of the people. I mean, what's the worst? I mean, the odds are they're just not going to answer the phone. It's not like Barkley's going to be like, "Oh, hey, Calm, how's it going?"
You want me to call Chuck right now?
I don't know. Carm's here all morning talking about how he's best friends with Dick Vitale.
It's my guy.
Carm might actually be best friends with Dick Vitale. Like, I know you're like poking fun. Carm, I'm telling you, Carm has this like weird way with people that Dick Vitale will answer the phone like, "Oh, hey, Carm, it's been a long time. I'm happy to chat and talk Northwestern basketball with you." If there's anybody that actually is like secret friends with Dick Vitale, it'd be Carm. That actually checks out.
Hey, Dickie V and I have a strong bond, courtesy of one interview where we literally sat there for an hour and then we talked afterwards. I was before his his most recent surgeries, whatnot. I was gonna go down and we were gonna play tennis. Me and Dickie V. He's a big tennis guy. But regardless,
See,
all right.
Yes.
Dickie V fun at taking me down. That's true.
Carm, really quickly before I answer the Orlando Brown question, I do want to answer it. When was the last time you just randomly watched a college basketball game? Just like you at your house, sat down, grabbed the remote, turned on the television, and watched a college basketball game.
Northwestern.
So we're taking Northwestern out of this.
No,
That's what we're doing.
No, I mean, like you watch Duke play Boston College in just a random game.
Well, how about other Big Ten games count? If I'm going to answer this honestly.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of something over the weekend. I
watched a little bit of something. Couldn't tell you what teams.
I mean, who was playing? Whoever was on early in the day on Saturday, I was watching for a minute. I'm getting into. Hey,
Adam, ask me an NFL question. I don't know why I asked Carm a sports question. He acts like I asked him what's the square root of pi. Like I watched a little bit of something. He has no clue what he sat down and watched.
I mean, who?
Carm, that was the Bulls game you were watching.
Listen, slow down. Nobody is sitting at home diving deep on college basketball games that they don't care about, a team they don't care about. What's the ratings on Texas Tech versus Mississippi State? Are 7 people watching that outside of those schools? And the answer to that is no. So come on, we're all in this together, C-Dot. And all right, back on
track. You watch random baseball games. What's any different? You watch two.
I don't watch random baseball games. I don't watch the Oakland A's play the Seattle Mariners because no one regional sport. No one cares. Last time Hoge watched the A's versus the Mariners was never.
That is something I definitely have phased out of my life as I've gotten older. Just random baseball games in the summer when I could be doing other things. All right, let's talk some NFL.
All right, my bad. I apologize for derailing you guys' show. My bad.
No, it's all good. We love it. But C-Dot, last week at the Combine, it seemed like there was this just assumption that the Chiefs were going to tag Orlando Brown again, and I don't know. It just doesn't happen a lot where you tag a guy twice in 2 years. So how do you see this playing out, and were you surprised that they didn't tag him?
I actually was. I was very surprised that the Chiefs didn't tag Orlando Brown. I mean, at anything, it gives you the ability to exclusively negotiate with them until July. Like, if that's a player that you want to keep on your team, you put the tag on him now, and then you keep working back and forth. I mean, it still gives you the ability to trade him. And we see trades happen where a guy gets franchise tagged, and then right before the draft, you end up trading him. That happened with Frank Clark whenever he joined Kansas City. That happened with Dee Ford. He got franchise tagged. The Chiefs eventually traded him to San Francisco. I'm sure there's some other examples of it, but I was surprised that the Chiefs were, willing to let their left tackle just venture out into free agency. I mean, he's a 25, going to turn 26-year-old left tackle who has been relatively healthy and productive. Like, that guy gets a substantial contract. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bears, who have the most salary cap space in the NFL, especially knowing their history with Kansas City with their general manager, I wouldn't be shocked if Orlando Brown is off the board to the Bears very early on. To me, the best hope scenario for the Bears is that they can be the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, all right, we're not going to have the traditional great pocket passer quarterback, but how do we build our team? Well, let's strengthen the offensive line. Let's go get DeAndre Hopkins. Let's do some other things, and let's try to build the core around Justin Fields heading into next year. And, I mean, I think we all agree they're going to trade the number 1 overall pick and get more assets for down the road. So Orlando Brown Jr. makes a lot of sense to me for Chicago. But to your original question, I am surprised that they didn't franchise tag him, because you're happy with just taking a compensatory third-round pick for a guy that all four of us think is going to get $100 million here coming up next week?
Yeah, but okay, I hear what you're saying, Carrington, and the Bears are going to have to overpay to get him, and maybe whatever they can do that. They certainly can do that, and maybe they will do that, considering their need to make things easier for Justin Fields. But it doesn't seem like the Chiefs are fully out here. Like they want to work out some level of deal, or do you think that that's just who's ever writing that is just wrong, that they're actually not going to be aggressive in any negotiation with Brown?
Oh, I mean, I think the time for Orlando Brown Jr. is over. I mean, all of us have had contract negotiations at some point in our life where if you've been talking to your company to try to get a deal done and they've been dragging their feet, the moment they start letting you talk to ESPN and FS1 and these other companies, you're gone at that point. Hey, I wanted to come back. I wanted to stay with you guys, but you've let me now go down this path. I mean, whatever contract that he's going to get offered, the Chiefs have had 2 years to offer that deal to him. Why have they never offered it to him? Like, why did it take all of this to finally get you to pay me what the market says that he's worth? That I think the worst thing you can do in the NFL is give a good player a great contract. And I think the Chiefs just don't want to give that contract to him. I think he's going to get $115 million next week from somebody and probably $70 million guaranteed. If you're the Chiefs, you've already taken advantage of that rookie contract. And now it's time for you to move on and then find the next Orlando Brown Jr.
Carrington, another player that the Chiefs have moved on from is Frank Clark. The Bears absolutely need pass rushers. Is that a guy that can still add to a team and provide some pass rush for a team that desperately needs it?
How much? I mean, that's going to be the thing. The issue with Frank Clark hasn't been that he hasn't been productive. He just hasn't been productive in the regular season. Now, watching the Chicago Bears, I don't know if the postseason is a very realistic aspiration for you guys. Like, you guys need to worry about the games in October before you start thinking ahead to the games in January. He's not very good in the October, November games. He's great in February, but you guys haven't played in February since Rex Grossman was in town. So I don't know if Frank Clark is I think Frank Clark is a good player to join a team that is like right there on the cusp, need that rotational piece to potentially help get you overboard. Like Buffalo makes a lot of sense to me. You weaken Kansas City, you add a pass rush like that. I think that makes more sense for me than a team like Chicago, especially a team that is just going to have so much cap space to spend. I don't know if I'm spending that on a 29-year-old who is often injured.
So back to Brown real quick. You sound like there seems to be a consensus that he's a good, not great player. And you seem to be understanding why the Chiefs are letting him go at this point because they don't want to give him what money should go to a great player. So if he signs with the Bears next week, is that a move that you're criticizing? Like, yes, I think we'd all agree you're pretty much overpaying for any free agent you sign on day one or day two of free agency. But given the situation they're in, is that a move that you think makes sense for them, or would you pass because they have so many needs and you don't need to be spending that much money when you're not that close to actually winning a Super Bowl?
To maybe give you a comparison here that like everyone can follow, I think Orlando Brown Jr. is Kirk Cousins. But this is like giving Kirk Cousins Joe Burrow's contract. You know, like no one thinks that he's Joe Burrow, but he's certainly capable. So like, why would you overspend for that player when you know what his limitations are? I think that's probably the best comparison. I also think it depends on where you are as an organization. The Bears have a quarterback on a rookie contract. The Chiefs don't have a quarterback that's on a rookie contract. So some of the financial decisions that Kansas City can't make, Chicago can make. I don't think it would be a great contract for really any team in the league. But if you're Chicago and you really just lock yourself into 3 seasons so you can take advantage of, all right, 2 years of Justin Fields left on this rookie deal, and then maybe that last year we kind of got to figure some things out, but we solidify a left tackle position, is that the worst contract in the world that you can give out? I would say no in there. And I think one thing to at least point out with Orlando Brown Jr., at least not based on what we've seen so far, he's not a guy that's going to sign a 3-year, 4-year guarantee deal and then play 19 games over the next 3 seasons. He's missed 1 start in his NFL career so far. So he's been a really healthy, durable player that, all right, you got a good player on the left side. At least you got a good player that's going to play 17 games for you plus the postseason. I mean, that's an incredibly valuable thing to have too. So I don't want to make it seem like I think Orlando Brown Jr. is bad. I certainly don't think that. I think he's probably the 9th best left tackle in the league, but wants to get paid like he's the 2nd best left tackle in the league.
we had my guy Matt Verderam on last night, C-Dot, and his general take with Brown was that at least part of the reason why, like, he ranks 19th in left tackles as far as pass protection on one metric that I read. And one of his reasons for that, he said, like, it is hard to block for Patrick Mahomes because he plays so unconventional back there. You're shaking your head. Yes, you agree with that? Like,
yeah, I do agree. I mean, I think what's kind of happened, like we were all joking about, like, do you watch all these other teams and sports and all these things? None of us are really qualified to measure offensive line play. Like, I know I'm not. Like, I'm not. You're not. Like, none of us are really qualified. And offensive line is one of those positions that, all right, your quarterback drops back 57 times. You play really well on 55 of those snaps. You give up a sack on 2 of those plays. You're a bum. Get you out of here. You suck. Like, it's just so hard to play left tackle. So hard to play corner. You can play corner really well. You get beat one time, we all think that you're trash. So I just think that's just kind of the way that we evaluate it. I think he is a more than capable player that if you sign him, I don't know if you regret the deal. You're just probably not going to get all the money that you can on the deal.
So, Carrington, what are the Chiefs going to do at left tackle now? If Orlando Brown is out of the equation, is that likely they're just going to draft a left tackle just to protect Patrick Mahomes? What's kind of the thought process for you is who's going to be blocking Patrick Mahomes' blindside there?
That's a good question. I mean, I think they're going to have to move up in the draft. I don't think you're finding your starting left tackle at pick 31. Like, I think you're going to have to move up to like 19th to get your starting left tackle if you're going to do it. If I had to guess, I think they go veteran left tackle on a free agent deal, like a cheap 2-year. He's 31 years old. He tore his ACL back in 2019, but he wants to play for a ring. I think that's probably their starting left tackle week 1, and then they have a draft pick that they spend the second-round pick on that they can develop. He can kind of learn behind, and then in 2024, he's the starter. That's what I think they're going to do. And I also think just in terms of, like, resources, allocation of funds, I think they're going to take some of that money and spend it on pass rush and wide receiver. Like, their wide receiver group is middle. Like, they're really good at quarterback. They're on the quarterback position or a wide receiver position. So I think we could see them maybe spend a little bit of money. They'll pay Juju Smith-Schuster. There's been a lot of rumors about them and DeAndre Hopkins. So I think they're going to try to save a little bit of money on left tackle, and I think they're going to spend that money on skill position-wise or defensive line.
I mean, I'm not worried about the Chiefs at all. They'll be fine because, it's the Chiefs. Most disrespected team in the NFL.
What did you think about Travis Kelce on Saturday Night Live?
I thought he was great. I mean, I think we've known for a while that, Kelce's going to have the ability to do basically whatever he wants whenever his NFL career is over. Like, if he wants to be a studio analyst, he can. If he wants to do play-by-play commentary, he'll be able to do that. I also think, I think Saturday Night Live is good at really putting you in situations to have success. Like, whenever Kim Kardashian did it, you just got to be willing to go up there and make fun of yourself. If you're willing to make fun of yourself for 7 minutes and we all can laugh like, ha, 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 Patrick Mahomes has a funny voice, ha, 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 you did this reality TV show. Like, that's kind of what the SNL was. I thought they found good skits that kind of showed his personality. His mom was there. His brother was there. It was cool.
Carrington Harrison, 610 Sports Radio, former co-host with Danny Parkins, who's also been on the show. C-Dot, I don't know, as you say goodbye, I just want to remind everybody, the Chiefs gave up a first, a third, a fourth-round pick in 2021 and a 22 fifth-rounder, all to the Ravens for Orlando Brown. And Ryan Poles was in that room. So,
to be fair, though, it isn't fair to point out that the Chiefs did get a second-round pick back for Orlando Brown.
And a sixth.
So they got Orlando Brown Jr. They got a second-round pick, so it kind of evened itself out. Carm, you know what we have to do before I have to go? I have to hear one Michael Jordan story. You and I, every time you come on the show, I ask you to give me one Michael Jordan story. Carm, did you really stand outside his old house and wish him happy birthday? You did that.
Yeah, he did that, and it was creepy and weird, and he did it.
Yeah, and I did a bad job when the person on the intercom, I should have just acted like I belonged. Like, I'm here for Mike. He wanted me to come by on his birthday, but I was so caught off guard that it didn't come off. One quick Jordan story for you. Are we all here for this? Let's do it. Let's go. Should we talk about the dream that I had in 1992? That's not a Jordan story, where I dreamt up that that I was on the court when the Bulls won it at home, and I was jumping up and down exactly the same way that B.J. Armstrong did, and then I ran down into the locker room to celebrate. I was so excited, this is a true story, that I was going to celebrate with the Bulls, and I got down to the locker room after we won it, and nobody was there, and then I was and then there somebody like told me, no, they're at this restaurant partying, go over there. So like I went to the restaurant and nobody was there either, and then I woke up.
Now that's just
Carm. Guys, this was a bad idea. I shouldn't have asked Carm for Michael
Weirdest Jordan story I ever heard.
It's a Jordan story though.
I just should have asked him his thoughts on a Larsa Pippen. I should have asked him his thoughts on Marcus Jordan and their relationship. That's what I should have asked.
I mean,
that's what I should have asked.
You go with the GOAT. GOAT's going to come back at you. That's the Larsa take. But how about this one, C-Dot? MJ walking in the gym at the Multiplex Bulls practice. Carman on the court in a random pickup game. Shook somebody, went to the hoop, laid it up, foul, rimmed out. I turned back around, looked at Mike, and he gave me the ooh. I got the ooh from him. He gave me the ooh.
Oh, that's the Jordan story I wanted, not some fictional Tony Soprano dream that you had. That's not what I wanted.
How is that not the greatest moment of your life?
I got the ooh. It's up there.
Ooh,
it's up there.
He gave you ooh.
I got the ooh.
You had to finish and then do the fist pump. You had to do the I just dunked on Patrick Ewing fist pump.
I had to act cool when I got the ooh. Like I was still bummed that I missed the shot because respecting the game. But deep inside, I was like, I got the ooh.
You won.
I got the
you
ooh.
Won.
You got
I got the ooh. The other great one from that era was BJ kicked one out to me. He was playing pickup with us. I shot it's halfway there. BJ 8-4. Counted my bucket before that thing went in. He knew that thing was going down. 8-4, C-Dot. 8-4, dog. That's what I'm talking about.
Can I come back on whenever Orlando Brown signs with the Bears? I'd love to come back on you guys' show.
Let's do it. We love you
all
here,
in,
C-Dot.
Appreciate
Thank you for jumping on.
Have a great show today, Carrington.
All right, there he is, Carrington Harrison. I'm going to start listening to his show. I'm a big fan of listening to.
You listen to everything. You're a listener. You consume content.
I listen to a lot of podcasts. Because I got to maximize my driving time to learn as much information as I possibly can. I wish there was some way to write down notes while you were driving, but that would be very illegal.
I get it when you're sitting next to somebody like myself who's just always constantly just spitting out knowledge that you've got to combat with.
What do you think I'm writing during the show here? I'm always writing the opposite of whatever you're saying.
What does Carm abandon all hope mean, Demand? This has been a heavy attack on Carm Day. I'm not abandoning hope. Rise and shine,
Carm's
hope.
a hooper.
I believe.
Carm's a hooper.
Hey, Nick, where can we go get some great gear?
Ooh, I got a place for you. It's called FOCO. Chicago, you've already got the best coverage for your favorite team, so get fitted out in the best sports gear around. FOCO's got you covered from Soldier Field to the front room, north or south side, with hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Get decked out like tomorrow with apparel from the leader in sports merch and collectibles, FOCO. If you're looking for the perfect gift for the football, basketball, hockey fan in your life, FOCO's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan breeze. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off.
After that conversation, does anybody want Orlando Brown?
So, before I answer that question, let me just let you know that CHGO Bears offseason coverage brought to you by the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program. Learn more at comed.com/powerandbiz. That's what this segment is brought to you by. And I've been kind of all over the place on this. Because this was coming up a lot in the comments during the show, and I get it. There's questions about whether he's really a scheme fit. Mm-hmm. Just because Poles was with him in Kansas City, remember Poles took kind of I want to say left turn, but he got away from Kansas City with who he hired and who that guy hired, and now going under this, you got to be thinking more Shanahan principles here for the Bears offense, and guys that you connected dots to who Chris Morgan was with in Atlanta, things like that. So I do sort of understand is this guy really fit the Bears scheme? My answer to that is I think he can do it. Do I want to pay over $100 million, though, to somebody that there's even that question about, I think is the question.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of interesting offensive line candidates out there. I mean, you want Jawaan Taylor to play right tackle? He's 25 years old. You want to leave
Another question about scheme fit there.
Yeah, that's true.
And because
you want to
both of these players are players that I would prefer to spend big money on. They're 25 and 26, right? Like, if I'm going to go that route and give out enormous contracts, I'd rather give that to that player rather than Mike McGlinchey, who's older, and you might have to pay him $17 million a year. Like, and I'm not sure he's a much better player. In fact, he's not, but he fits your scheme better, right? So,
Yes.
like, this is the battle Ryan Poles has, I think, in free agency that he's got to kind of figure out and navigate.
He's got all this money, and there isn't that go-to, I need to have this player on my team right now, which is unfortunate for Ryan Poles, but that's why, he has these tough decisions to make. And, the more we've talked to people who have covered Orlando Brown the past, at Bears After Dark yesterday, right now, the foot speed's going to be a little bit of an issue too. It's wide zone scheme. You need to be able to move. And like you, Adam, I said last night that I think Orlando Brown can make it work. But ideally, you want someone that is going to work. And Braxton Jones, I'd like to see him in another season get some weight, get a little stronger, and see what he can do in year 2 of his NFL career.
As far as paying premium dollars, period, then after that conversation, Orlando Brown, let's just suppose for a minute that Saquon Barkley's out there. You're paying top dollar for one of the two. Who would you rather have?
I'm sorry, what are the choices?
Orlando Brown, Saquon Barkley.
An apple or an orange?
Yes,
left tackle or running back?
Yep.
That's a tough question.
It is. I've never been on the Saquon Barkley train, to be completely honest.
I mean, you're seeing these running backs, but Tony Pollard just got tagged, $11 million. Somebody's valuing a running
Problem is
back.
I like a lot of these running backs in the draft.
Okay,
and
that's it. But
I just feel like it's not a thing, and I think that's what the Bears are showing you. Like, they're not necessarily in a rush to I'm not sure Montgomery. Let me put it this way. It's Tuesday, so a week from now, Tuesday. I don't think Montgomery's signed the team. I think he sits out there for a little bit to kind of see how the market goes. You know what I mean? I don't.
What team needs a running
Because if you're the
back
Bears,
right
I think you can allow that to happen. We talked a little about this the other day and the risk of waiting to the draft for a running back, but there's so many options that I feel like you can at least find somebody to complement Khalil Herbert if that's the route you go. And look, I'm a re-sign Dave Montgomery guy, especially if you can get him in that $45 million per year range. But
It's an interesting question, Mark, and I don't know if I have the answer right now.
I would keep an eye on Caleb McGarry, offensive tackle from Atlanta. He's got the connection to Chris Morgan. Definitely a scheme fit. Although, I think that's another guy you might have to pay pretty handsomely.
hit the like button if you enjoyed our conversation with Carrington and you want him to come back on the show with or without Orlando Brown on the Bears.
I'll give you an interior guy, too, that I think is interesting to think about. That's Garrett Bradbury.
Okay.
Garrett Bradbury was a guy I really liked coming out of North Carolina State. The Vikings took him in the first round. He's a center. He was kind of underwhelming. But when the Vikings switched coaches last year and he took off, he had a much better year. And I think that's something you got to kind of sort through. Why did that happen? Could he be a bit fit with the Bears? But that's somebody with first-round pedigree that I think you can get cheaper.
That's the most interesting sort of part of football that I was just this morning having that thought. Geno Smith sat for 5 years. More, really. Played 3 games in 2021. He basically was sitting for almost 7 years. And then he finally got an opportunity to play. I don't know what he was doing behind the scenes, how much he was learning, or it was just the fact that Seattle was loaded with talent, and now he's got a 3-year contract worth $100 and some odd million. Like, it is, your situation is so incredibly important in your success in the NFL. So I'm not like,
The Geno Smith story is ridiculous.
I mean,
An outlier almost, to be completely
it totally.
What did that have to do with Garrett Bradbury, though?
It had nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
But it had something. Whatever. I don't know how I got there. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm just talking about fit and Brown's
how you
not
can have a resurrection.
Yeah,
kind of.
Brown's not a fit with the Bears, and should you pay, is it worth it to pay Saquon? What would it look like here? Like, to me, I thought what Carrington's point about Jalen and I don't think Justin Fields is ever going to be an elite process the field, sit in the pocket quarterback. That's not his game. So to have creative players around him and do design runs and play more like the Eagles played last year, it makes a lot of sense to me.
All right, we got a lot
Control
of
the
super
clock, yada yada. Okay, go ahead.
And we'll start with the Yoshi one from earlier.
Yeah. He wants the defensive back breakdown.
Yeah,
See, this is
anyone
exactly
catch your
why we
attention?
have our NFL draft board, which you have access to if you are CHGO diehard. So go to CHGO, allchgo.com/diehard. I don't exactly know how to answer this question. Do you want – yes, there's a lot of corners I like. Christian Gonzalez, it is so loud in the studio today. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is why traffic is
baseball season is coming soon, and our Cubs guys, there's a lot of them over there.
I can't even
This is a conversation for another time.
I know.
Down over there.
I'm struggling to organize my thoughts. Christian Gonzalez is a corner from Oregon that I really like.
Shut him up.
He had a great combine too, so he moved up, and I think that. But that's a guy you're talking like first round. So I don't think the Bears are in play for a first-round corner necessarily. Devin Witherspoon from Illinois is going to go really high too. Joey Porter Jr., Penn State.
People love Witherspoon. I haven't heard one person say a bad word about that dude.
Good player. He's a good player. So I don't know. Are we looking like I had Riley Moss from Iowa in my first mock draft I did. And I don't think he hurt himself last week at the Combine. I do think he's a corner. Darius Rush was from South Carolina was somebody that I think we really like coming out of the Senior Bowl.
Yep. Ran a 4.36 in the 40. So, yeah, he's the guy that made a lot of plays down in Mobile, a lot of interceptions. Like him a lot, too.
For those pushing back, by the way, in the chat about that Fields is not a great pocket passer, one of the people that I talked to in the Combine said exactly that. The NFL personnel, legit big-time dude.
Said
the
what?
That he's not. He's never going to be a dude that processes things quickly. That's not his game. And went further than that, for the record, that I'm not going to talk about because people are going to get real hyped. So it's
some people think that and that's the thing he needs to prove. He needs to prove that he can make his go touchdown and check down faster.
You can't just say he did it at Ohio State. College to NFL is totally different. We're not talking about the same ball game. Sorry. Continue.
You guys are
I had a couple
an argument about semantics. He is a pocket quarterback. When he needs to be. He needs to process faster in the pocket.
Exactly. I'm not saying he doesn't want to be in the pocket. I'm not saying he can't throw the football. He absolutely can. But he needs to process better in the pocket. Thank you.
All right, let's fire through the super chats. Rajon Wright is a later round corner sleeper, in my opinion.
Okay.
Alex,
Right
$2
on.
super
Yep.
chat. Appreciate your opinion. Good
you,
stuff.
Alex.
It wasn't Colin Cowherd who I talked to. Thank you very much.
It was Colin Cowherd. That's funny.
I also had some late night combos inside of
This was an
the
NFL
Prime 47 that were not
higher up.
exactly all fully positive on Justin. I was upset about it.
Jealous.
Yeah.
You're also not. I mean, it's not like a groundbreaking opinion. A lot of
Right.
people think that.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that. Isaac, $10. Would you guys take Henry or Barkley? Let's say same contract and a Happy Taco Tuesday.
Taco
Gentle
Tuesday.
Give me Saquon. Less wear and tear.
Give me tacos.
Yeah, between the two, Barkley.
Got the knee.
Carne asada.
He does have the knee. I get it.
A little bit more versatile, too, than
Yeah, I would take
Henry.
Barkley
Yeah.
for sure.
Carne asada? That's where I'm going.
Carne salad, shrimp tacos, yeah.
I didn't eat lunch yet. I'm really hungry. Tacos sound good.
Yeah, starving.
How about from Doug?
Doug Van Dorn, $5. Darnell Washington and Darnell Wright are ranked about the same in the draft. If both were there at 54, would you take either? And if so, which one? I personally would go Washington. There's something about Wright. I was watching him closely at Senior Bowl. Granted, it was on TV, not in person, where you were, Nick. I just didn't come off very impressed. I know he had a good combine, but I have questions about him as a scheme fit for the Bears. And I like Washington. He's huge, enormous. He blocks like an offensive lineman, and all of a sudden is showing that he can catch the ball the way he did in those workouts the other day. Granted, it's just in his underwear, but
it's still something, right?
You know, I like him.
I think Corey Wooden was saying that he liked Darnell Wright, and
I think he did say that.
So I'm going to defer to him on that. I still have to watch a little bit more about him to give you an honest opinion. But Corey likes him.
Doug, I've heard people liking both, and the fact that you are into that conversation in the middle of the second round just proves your eliteness as a Bears diehard.
I will say this because a little sneak preview at what you could get if you are in the diehard range and have access to our NFL draft board. But if you go to Darnell Wright's player profile, 6'5", 1'8", 342. I have some notes in here from the Senior Bowl. Great hands. If he locks on, you are done. Was inconsistent and somewhat disappointing during Senior Bowl practices, but must pay more attention to the tape. He had a great game against Alabama's Will Anderson.
That speaks volumes.
So there you go. That's what you can
great.
get.
I mean, that's a good guy to have a great game against, and that is tremendous in our diehard package, baby. Let's go.
Next up. Melbourne Bartholomew.
For
anyone worried, that's a great name. For anyone worried about, come on, we just went from a Carrington Harrison to a Melbourne Bartholomew.
Got to be related.
Elite names.
That is great. For anyone worried about,
would you rather go to the Harrisons or the Bartholomews for Thanksgiving? I'd go Bartholomew all day.
I mean, if you're in Melbourne, I would definitely go there instead of Kansas City.
Good barbecue in Kansas.
I mean, I'd like to go there at the start of the year. Let's go there for New Year's and then take in the Australian Open. Continue on. For anyone worried about Jackson Smith-Njigba being a slot only a wide receiver, Cooper Kupp in college lined up there, 83% of the snaps in the slot in 2016 and 89% of the snaps in the slot in 2015. He pushed back on that, Melbourne.
So he's Cooper Kupp.
Maybe he's Cooper Kupp.
That's one of the guys he miles his game after. So take it.
They were actually talking about that during the combine coverage with one of the drills they were running, which was like that specific like in-cut, in-out route, and they were brought up Cooper Kupp comp right there.
Justin Fields would love a Cooper Kupp kind of guy.
All right, a couple more, then we are out of here. J.R. Mayberry, will April showers bring us Zay Flowers?
Like it.
That's next level super chat right there.
That super chat was so good, I want to refund him his $2.
Just do it for free.
Showers bring Zay Flowers. Like it. Could be a tune.
Will it?
Will it?
I don't know. Do you know, Lawrence?
Yes.
I haven't seen the Bears draft. I haven't seen the Bears draft board yet, so I can't.
What, Adam? Come on. You haven't seen it yet? It's out there.
I'm gonna say no because I think he ends up late first round.
Trade backs. So who knows?
All right. Cornelius, 199. Have you guys watched tape on Kalijah Kancey? Yes, we talked a lot about him last week.
Corey Wooten loves him to the end of the earth, Cornelius, and I love Corey Wooten to the end of the earth. So, yes, by process of association.
I mean, the best was that Corey said that on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday is when he went bonkers.
Up the combine.
Wood was ahead.
Great combine. Also measured in taller than people thought at 6'1", which I think helps a little bit because the knock on him was he's small. I don't hate interior D linemen, though, that are shorter because it gives you leverage.
He walked right by us. Woot was like, look at that dude. And I'm like, I kind of wish he was a drop bigger to be like, he's not.
A drop bigger?
Maybe 3 drops.
3 drops bigger?
Yeah.
I love the measurement.
Great way to
he wasn't huge.
I like it.
He was strong. He was thick. But anyway. When Corey Wooten's in front of you, you know Corey Wooten's in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
Elijah
no
Campson
doubt
was
about
not
that.
Okay, $4.99 here from a bunch of numbers and a jib. What what is the one scenario on draft night to where you will say Poles really fumbled this opportunity?
No trade out.
We don't want to think about that.
Yeah, if you select at 1, I mean that's fumbling everything right there.
Picking at 1. That's my answer. And
Yeah,
we're not
having any picks between 1 and what is it where they're supposed to pick?
50, what is it,
48.
52?
54.
Yeah,
I know that off the top of our head.
48.
54, yeah.
Definitely not 40.
They don't have any other picks there.
All right, last one here.
2 more.
Oh, we got 2 more. Monty, $4.99. Whenever you guys can we get a 1v1 basketball tournament with every CHGO employee? My money is on Hoge. Bet he's a shooter like Gilbert Arenas. What a comp.
Why have I felt like I've heard that before? Gilbert, I don't know.
I can't shoot like Arenas.
There's no way I'm not winning that tournament, just for the record.
Oh, yeah, because I'm winning it.
Okay, first of all,
Yeah,
Let's go.
stop.
I'm in, Monty.
I hate one-on-one. I like playing team basketball.
I do like,
getting a
5-on-5.
run. Actually, my biggest thing is I just like getting the run up and down the court. I don't like half-court games. I don't want to play in half-court games. If we're playing one-on-one, we're going full court.
Oh, God.
I love
There
one-on-one full. One-on-one full is a great game.
Oh, then I'm winning. Yeah. I will blow by you.
Hoge,
No.
I will comfortably wager whatever you would like on a nice, solid one-on-one game. And
we have content coming out.
Look, we
Send
have
me
had a
some
lot of
content.
requests for a actual basketball game, which we should do. CHGO versus listeners.
The world.
I'll say
CHGO
right now,
versus the world.
I'm not winning any shooting contests in this office. I will grant that. But if we're playing one-on-one,
Also, we need
Bring
to
it
play
on.
indoors.
Indoors,
That's-
yes.
yes.
Indoors. No
Indoors.
double rim
Shooting
outdoors.
percentage
No way.
goes
we'll
way down outside.
We'll have how's this? We'll have this show. We'll have a comp. We'll see what happens. Then we'll consider anybody else who wants to step up. But I got to be honest. Who's a candidate?
For what?
Who can hoop in this company?
Our producer can.
No, I'm a chucker at this point. Used to be able to hoop. I haven't played in probably a decade.
Ryan Green seemed to have some game.
RG could,
Yeah,
but
Ryan Green, yeah.
just CHGO.
Just CHGO.
Kevin Kadek's
Yeah.
a hooper. Right?
I mean, he has a big body. I don't know if he's a hooper.
Yeah. Rebounder.
Doug says he's blocked in the chat for some reason. I don't understand what he's saying there. We'll try and figure that out, Doug. I mean,
Sorry, Doug.
you are chatting, so that
Locked
confuses
in the
me.
chat for some reason.
I don't
You
know.
are
Not
chat.
good. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
he can't. He has to super chat the chat. I don't know.
I don't
It's a
think
super
so.
chat, tube chat.
I'll check on that.
Last one from Logan.
Logan.
Best Bears show on the tube. Let's get some love. Hit that like button. Appreciate
Thank
you, Logan.
You the man.
Way to write us out here on the end of the show there.
All right, I got to go. Roto Rooters calling me.
And RotoWire will be calling the Cubs in about 10 minutes, so let's say goodbye.
Roto. Finishing up the pod.
Ask them if they know who Jack Sanborn is.
Do you know who Jack Sanborn is? Hello? Do you know who Jack Sanborn is? Come on, 57 for
He
the
said
Bears.
he did not. I heard
We gotta
it.
know.
He
We
does
gotta
not-
know on Sanborn. We
Roto
gotta go.
Rooter does not know
That's
who Jack
unbelievable.
Sanborn is. This is unbelievable. All right, we're out of here.
San,
Follow us
God
on
love
Twitter
you. All right, what's the bill?
at Mark Carman. Nicholas Moreano, he's literally on the phone with his plumber right now, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at noon.